2008, Barack Obama, then the junior United States Senator from Illinois, defeated Republican John McCain, the senior U.S. Senator from Arizona. During the presidential election campaign, Obama ran on a platform of change and hope, which appealed to the nation on the onset of economic crisis, embittered over the government's reaction to Katrina and its military involvement in Iraq. His campaign laid out his views on closing Guantanamo Bay, ending combat mission in Iraq by August 31, 2010, repealing Don't Ask, Don't Tell, universal health care, financial regulation, a repeal of the Bush tax cuts, immigration reform, the goal of creating a Palestinian state alongside the Jewish state of Israel, and the goal of reforming unethical practices in Washington, such as ending the revolving door of lobbyists. Shepard Fairy's image captured the spirit of Obama's campaign and condensed it into the simple message of hope. The image and its message was embraced by the official campaign, and it gave a powerful graphic image to the campaign.
I felt like the hope image during his campaign really did do its job of sort of communicating the message that so not only am I different, I as Obama am I different, but what you need is hope. Like, you don't lie. You know what you need right now is hope, and I'm gonna bring it to you, because I feel like we were in a period, we were in the middle of George Bush and the war, and we sort of starting to kind of start to give up hope, and people sort of started just having enough. We had enough, and I think that word as something for the American public to latch on to was very, very effective at that time, but especially the word change, because we had 8 years of this sort of unchanging presence and administration, 8 years of the same thing, so almost a decade where it seemed as if things were not changing. So yes, those two words were very, very important.
The way I personally got involved with creating the mural here in Houston was, and again, this is kind of my perception of it, somebody in Washington had called somebody here in Texas, who then that person called someone here in Houston, who somehow was affiliated with the Obama headquarters, the campaign headquarters here in town. And long story short, it trickled down to us getting a phone call, and we were asked if there was any way we can come out and paint something on the side of the building because Obama was going to come into town. And we said, cool, yeah, that sounds great. Like when do you need it? I said, well, he's coming in tomorrow. And we're like, oh, okay, well then we got to get busy. It was around 3 or 4 o'clock. We were trying to figure out what we were going to do. And at the time, obviously, Shepard Fairy had already created the Hope image, the Hope Street poster campaign. And the image itself was so powerful, and the Obama campaign had already kind of adopted that as their kind of iconic image. So we thought it was totally fitting for us to reproduce Shepard Fairy's artwork on the side of the campaign headquarters. And we know Shepard on a personal level, so we knew that there wouldn't have been an issue. You know, we didn't claim it as our own artwork. And so, long story short, we started around, I think it was like 8 o'clock at night. There was a team of 4 of us that worked on it total, and we worked till about midnight. So it took us about 4 hours to get it done. And at the very end, it was pretty gratifying to just see it finished and huge.
The poster to me meant Shepard Fairy, this artist. I think that was the predominant thing that I noticed, his style. And whenever he creates anything in that style, it's always revolutionary. It's always, like I said, grassroots. And I think at least it reminds me of something that like like some sort of revelry or something. And so, and I'm all about that. In a sense, I felt like I wanted to continue the revelry and I wanted to continue some sort of revolution. I think the image kind of encouraged more within me and even my friends to continue with it, with reproducing it, like reproducing the poster into a stencil and promoting it around our community. And I think we saw it, at least myself, I saw it in a way of you know, creating that change that he was talking about in his campaign, creating a different image of who a president is, because you usually always see, you know, white older men as our leader of our country, and now even thinking about having a black president and how that would change the view of our society. And I think Obama being a president, it has changed a little bit of how people see America, or even how we see America.
So I think since the time that we painted the image here in town, originally the reaction was, you know, people would drive by while we were painting, they were honking their horns in excitement. After it was complete, I would drive by sometimes and people were taking photographs in front of it. The reaction, people loved it. And it wasn't until probably a couple years later that the mural actually got defaced. And what's funny is, when we first painted it, people would ask us, well, because you guys are street artists, you think anyone's going to come and deface the mural? And I said, well, you know, we've never had any problems ourselves with other people going over our work. And then a couple years later, several times the image was defaced, and people were saying, well, you guys are being defaced, and it wasn't us to blame. It was more, they were more political statements. It wasn't necessarily people were defacing it because we did it or because it was a graffiti piece or whatnot. It was more of a political statement with people not satisfied with the administration or not satisfied with particular points. And you know, that's kind of what makes America cool and hip, is that, you know, you can take actions. You can take your own actions. If you have a problem with it, you can do something about it. And I think with the wall, it was almost a literal, I don't like what you're doing, bam, here you go. Now, I mean, I think there's no better way to to voice your opinion than to write it on the wall.
The Fairy poster did what successful propaganda does. It simplifies complex issues, and it repeats them over and over again to the public.
In the upcoming election, I do not think that he can use words change and hope, because so many people, so many media sources have used those words against him and have twisted them in his sides like two daggers, right? And sort of made it seem as if, oh yes, you have changed our world for the worse. It's changed and it's worse. So no, he cannot use those words anymore. But I think that he will still be able to win.
So it's interesting that I'm not really seeing the hope poster as much as I did 2008 as for his campaign this year, 2012. And I think it's because he knows the hoax is up. You know, he knows that people aren't hopeful, you know, of him continuing being the president. So I think he's probably taking like another platform. And I don't really know what that is, to be honest. But I think that he may win again this year just because of the candidate that's running, you know, against him right now.
So I think right now there's a lot of people that are disappointed because he hasn't delivered on many promises. And so, I mean, right now it's tough to tell whether he'll win or not. I think that if people really wanted to see a change and if they really want to see something happen, you have to be patient. You know, not everything can be done in 4 years. have to be patient, let him do his job, give him another 4 years, see what happens. And then at the end of 4 years, if obviously, you know, if you hadn't done what you wanted, then you vote for someone else. But I think to expect so much from one president in 4 years I think you're setting yourself up for failure.